All right, let's get right into it. If you've ever tried to tell a really good story in Spanish, about your childhood or a trip you took, you've probably hit a wall. How do you talk about what used to happen versus what just happened? Well, today we're unlocking a huge piece of that puzzle, the Spanish imperfect tense.
I mean, think about it. In any story, you've got your main events, right? The big things that happen once and we're done. But then you have all the other stuff, the background, the atmosphere, the little habits that really give the story its flavor. So how on earth do you manage both of those in Spanish?
Well, this is how. You use the imperfect tense. Seriously, think of this as your new storytelling superpower. It's what lets you go from just listing events to actually painting a rich, detailed picture of the past. Mastering this is the real secret weapon for describing what used to happen or what was happening.
So what's its first job? Simple, painting the picture. Before you can jump into all the action, you've got to set the scene. And the imperfect is, well, perfect for describing the people, the places, and the situations that make up the whole backdrop of your story.
The rule here is incredibly simple, but so powerful. If you want to describe how things were, not what they did, but what they were like, you're going to use the imperfect. It is all about setting that stage.
Just look at this example. La casa era grande. See, this isn't an action that started and stopped. It's a description. For the whole time you're talking about, the house was big. It's the essential background info your listener needs.
And it's the exact same idea with el clima hacía frío. We're not talking about an event. We're describing the general vibe, the conditions that were just there while other stuff was going down. This is the context that makes the whole story feel real.
Okay, let's move on to its second function, which is so cool. I like to think of this one as rewinding the tape. This is for all those things that happened over and over and over again. Your habits, your old routines. It's like a memory you can just hit replay on.
So here's the takeaway. Anytime you want to talk about something you used to do, the imperfect tense is your best friend. It's built for those actions that were repeated or just part of your normal life back then.
For example, yo jugaba fútbol. You didn't just play soccer one time, right? No, it was this thing you did all the time when you were a kid. It was a habit. And the imperfect just perfectly captures that feeling of repetition.
Or how about this one? Ellos comían juntos los domingos. Do you see that little clue in there? Los domingos, on Sundays. That tells you it wasn't just one Sunday, it happened every Sunday, week after week. That is a textbook case for using the imperfect.
And hey, speaking of clues, keep your eyes peeled for words like these. Phrases like siempre, always, a menudo, often, or todos los días, every day, are like giant flashing signs that say, hey, use the imperfect here.
And now for our third and final function, hitting pause. I want you to imagine you're watching a movie, and you just hit the pause button right in the middle of a scene. The imperfect tense is what lets you describe exactly what was happening in that frozen moment.
Yep. When you want to say that something was happening or that somebody was doing something, you're talking about an action that was in progress. And that, my friends, is the imperfect's third big job.
For example, yo caminaba por la calle. I was in the process of walking. The action was happening, it wasn't finished. This is perfect for setting the scene for something else to interrupt it, right? I was walking, when all of a sudden...
Same thing with nosotros estudiábamos. At that specific moment in the story, the action of studying was ongoing. It paints such a clear picture of the scene before maybe, the fire alarm went off.
Okay, so we've got our three functions: describing, talking about habits, and describing ongoing actions. But how does this all fit together with that other past tense, the preterite? Because nailing this difference is when you really start to sound fluent.
Think of it like this. The imperfect is the background story. It's the setting, the mood music, the stuff that was going on. The preterite, that's the main event. It's the action that happened, finished, and pushed the story forward. The imperfect is the stage. The preterite is the actor delivering the killer line. Getting this right changes everything.
So now you have this amazing storytelling tool in your Spanish toolbox. The only question left is, what part of your story are you going to tell first? Are you going to start by painting the picture with the imperfect, or are you going to jump right into the action? The choice is all yours.